Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, yesterday afternoon, Labour MPs and peers voted in favour of reinstating elections to the shadow cabinet, taking away the power to appoint MPs from the leader, Jeremy Corbyn. So if approved, would it be a pragmatic way of making a seemingly divided party work together? Richard, did you back the proposal?
I voted for the leader to retain the right to appoint the shadow cabinet.
Why?
I think it's a bit of a distraction, but I'm relaxed either way. The party will decide in due course whether the shadow cabinet is appointed in the same way or whether it's elected in some way.
Well, hang on, when you say in due course, is this not going to go ahead, though, even though MPs have actually decided to back that proposal? Well,
the procedure is that the National Executive Committee has to look at it.
And are you thinking they may not pass it?
I don't know what the National Executive Committee will say about it. I'm relaxed either way, actually. However, the shadow cabinet is put in place, I think the key thing is for all Labour MPs, whoever's elected in a few weeks, to get behind the elected leader, whether that's Owen Smith or Jeremy Corbyn, and take the fight to the Conservatives.
And that's the problem, isn't it? Because what will change? Let's assume Jeremy Corbyn wins the leadership, and certainly all the polls indicate that that is going to happen at the moment. It's not going to solve the problem that 172 MPs, your colleagues, don't have confidence in Jeremy Corbyn as leader. And the fact that they may be the ones who elect themselves into the shadow cabinet won't change that.
Well, when Jeremy Corbyn was first elected leader a year ago, he did appoint a shadow cabinet that represented a wide range of people from across the political spectrum in the Labour Party.
But that's not my question. What I'm saying to you is, let's say Jeremy Corbyn is the leader and we have a whole raft of those 172 MPs who've said they have no confidence in him. They're elected to the shadow cabinet. My first question will be to the Shadow Minister for Paperclips, for example, do you have confidence in Jeremy Corbyn? And they will say no.
Well, I think lots of people have reconsidered some of the hasty statements that were made in the aftermath of the European Union referendum result. What I will say now, and I've said it before, is that if Owen Smith is elected leader of the Labour Party, I'll serve him loyally. If Liz Kendall, Andy Burnham or Yvette Cooper had been elected in the last leadership election, I'd have got behind them and just have supported every leader going back. So whatever the mechanism for deciding the composition of the shadow cabinet, whoever wins the leadership election, there's a responsibility on the Parliamentary Labour Party to take the fight to the Conservatives, hold the Conservative government to account and do the job we're elected to do. Sometimes in democracy we don't get the result we want.
Right, so you are expecting your colleagues who just a month or so ago said they didn't have confidence in Jeremy Corbyn and say, actually, he is an ineffective leader. You're expecting them to lie, be hypocritical about the way they feel about the leader and say, you're right, I'm going to serve him and I will agree with him.
I am expecting and I'm hopeful that my Labour colleagues, if Jeremy Corbyn is elected against leader of the Labour Party, will focus on the job in hand, which is to say, clearly and loudly, we want a Labour government with Jeremy Corbyn as leader and will work night and day for that.
If they don't, what should happen to them?
Well, I hope that they will, and I think that people and pundits may be surprised that if Jeremy Corbyn is elected again as leader, I think people may be surprised at what proportion of the Parliamentary Labour Party rolls up the sleeves and gets on with the task in hand.
Have you spoken to, honestly, have you spoken to enough of your colleagues? I mean, if we're talking about the ones who said they didn't have confidence before, and I'm just plucking these names out of air, Chuka Umunna, Tristram Hunt, Emma Reynolds, Rachel Reeves, Chris Leslie, will all those, do you think, if they were elected to the shadow cabinet, are you confident that they would serve under Jeremy Corbyn?
Well, there are people who are willing to serve in shadow ministerial positions if Jeremy Corbyn is elected again, and that includes people, obviously, who aren't holding shadow ministerial jobs.
But they might not be elected.
Pardon?
They might not be the ones elected, might they, by their peers?
Well, let's see how the decision is taken about how the shadow cabinet is put in place. But I think the decision about how the shadow cabinet is put in place is a bit of an inward-looking distraction in a way.
Well, except you've got to function as a parliamentary opposition, haven't you? And a leader does have to have the support of the MPs. Now, it may be that if they are going to elect each other into the shadow cabinet, it will be difficult for Jeremy Corbyn once again to be able to command the shadow cabinet in a way that does take the fight to the Tories. You must be worried about that at the very least.
Well, whoever is elected as Labour leader, whether it be Owen Smith or Jeremy Corbyn, they'll have a huge mandate because 640,000 people are eligible to take part in this election. That mandate needs to be respected. I can say this now, and it'll be no surprise to you. If Owen Smith is elected, I will respect that mandate. Should I have respected the mandate of who was elected last time if Jeremy hadn't been elected? And I would encourage all my colleagues to do the right thing and do the same in the event that Jeremy's elected.
Do you think this decision to back the proposal has been an attempt to try and hobble Jeremy Corbyn and his ability to lead the party?
I think there's bigger issues at the moment. We may come on later today to talk about the lack of a plan from the government in terms of the situation when Britain leaves the European Union.
Sure, and we will, but the problem will be if there isn't a parliamentary party that is one or a shadow cabinet that is one.
I would just urge my colleagues to look outwards. There is this caricature that it's those who are characterised as being on the left of the party who are inward-looking, obsessed with constitutionalism and other things. I think we need to be outward-looking. We shouldn't be letting down the people who elected us. They didn't elect us to spend our times in internecine constitutional wrangling or parliamentary plots. What we're elected to do is hold the Conservative government to account, and whoever is elected Labour leader will have a historically huge mandate and should be supported.
Do you think those MPs who don't support him be deselected? Do you think that is the way, if they don't represent the leader and the majority of the members now of the Labour Party, that they really should be deselected?
I think the talk of deselections and other things is a bit of a distraction.
Well, it's not
really.
a distraction, it's been talked about. We had somebody on the show just a few days ago who is talking about how to reselect or deselect your local MP.
Well, I think that's an inward-looking distraction. So I'm urging people to look outwards, take the fight to the Conservatives, and let's stop fighting amongst ourselves. Labour MPs have more in common with each other than they have that divides them ideologically, although sometimes it doesn't seem like that on television.
It would be good if you could point me to some of those examples, but anyway, I'll take your word for it.
We've got plenty of time.
I've been getting